Hey everyone, welcome back to another second stimulus check and second stimulus package unemployment benefits extension update. So we have really great news to share, and I had to kind of absorb it in this morning. Now, the stimulus package has not yet been approved. However, it does look very promising, and we have actually a chain of great news today in today's episode. So if, this has been, I'm pretty sure for a lot of us, some time of despair or just basically a period of time that we've been left with so much more to be desired or so much more to kind of hope for. I think that hopefully maybe by the very end of this episode, there will finally be more news to actually be cheerful, maybe a reason to smile again, or maybe to continue smiling even harder if you guys have already been, maintaining the hope, even though I know it has been very difficult. But the great news is that we have basically received a lot of feedback yesterday throughout almost every single hour, which is what we're going to be sharing today. We have received feedback this morning about certain things that have happened in the talks yesterday that I think almost everyone's hopefully going to look forward to hearing, including some adjustments that have actually happened already to the second stimulus package, because at this current time, from all of the feedback that we have received from yesterday and even this morning, it's looking very promising. Now keep in mind, while it hasn't been approved yet, we likely will at least know the answer in just something in the very near future, likely even in 2 days. Because keep in mind, as we've kind of mentioned, is that the deadline, not just for us and our stimulus checks and package, but even for them with their government funding, is also going to be by the end of this week. So basically, this really is a moment where we've kind of tied hands and we can, hopefully either rise together or we can all kind of just struggle and go through some kind of difficulties, hopefully rise. And at this current time, from the feedback that we're currently hearing, there's a lot of positive upside to it. But we're going to be talking all about that in today's update, so definitely stay tuned. We're going to jump right to it. But before we begin, as always, make sure you smash the like button in light of this great news we're about to share. Consider subscribing and hitting the bell notification button for future updates on stimulus, unemployment, or check out other videos that maybe already exist if you need. Have any questions about anything, and feel free to comment any personal thoughts, especially by the end of this, or really anything at all or anytime at all, about basically this entire situation and where we currently stand and what you think is going to be happening by the end of this week. So the really great news, of just many great news that we're about to share basically, is that a lot of the politicians basically all met up yesterday. Pelosi, McConnell, Schumer, a lot of them basically got together and they talked a lot about the stimulus checks and proposal. They were finally able to work out a lot of different parts and kind of come to a certainly much closer agreement than what they have basically been for the last couple of days. I know even Mitch McConnell did also appear, and he actually specifically stated that he was basically going and he vowed that he was going to make sure that this stimulus check / package gets approved and finally signed by the end of this year, because otherwise, he basically made a vow, is that they will not go on vacation until they finally approve and make it official. Now, whether we can take his word for or not, that's kind of up to interpretation. You guys can feel free to comment about it, but I will say maybe one note, just a quick note about Mitch McConnell, I think, is that even though Mitch McConnell, maybe someone that I know a lot of people don't like, he has done a lot of things and he is one of the reasons so many people in this country are hungry right now. But I think one of the big things about him is that I feel that compared to a lot of politicians, he's probably one of the most just straight with it. So if something was not good, he was more likely to kind of like, even before the elections, remember how you guys might have mentioned that before the elections, he even kind of just joked at the idea about, like doing a stimulus. He says, oh, there's no way we're going to be able to get it done. And instead he ran away to focus on the Supreme Court justice. But at least he was very straight about it. So for someone who has basically spent the last couple of months basically saying that he wasn't planning to do a package or he didn't see it promising, for him to finally relatively compromise, this is very big news. The great news that actually even Mitch McConnell has vowed that he is going to make sure that something is approved by the end of this year, and likely even by the end of this week, or at least hopefully by Christmas, because otherwise he's planning to basically stay to work on it, and I don't think that they're gonna want to do it for their own and basically for everyone's sake at this point. Because after basically getting together yesterday and basically talking for more than 1 hour, and why this is also significant, which is I guess another great news, is because keep in mind is that like there were many times in the past where they talked about how they were planning to kind of get together and talk out the different stimulus checks, unemployment, and different proposals. But then what ended up happening is it turns out that they just made a phone call and probably talked for a couple of minutes and then kind of called it. The great news that this is probably the first time that they met not only in person, but they actually sat down to talk for some reasonable, substantial amount of time that is, let's just say, something much longer than just 30 to 40 minutes. In fact, it was just, I'm pretty sure it was even several hours that they finally got together and really managed to kind of talk out a lot of different things. But probably the even brighter news of all of this that we've actually recently received is that we actually got feedback about the recent stimulus package once again, and the idea is that this recent stimulus package, they have finally decided that they're going to be tweaking this package once again. They're basically, yes, they're coming out with another even more tweaked version of their own like Senate bipartisan kind of proposal that they recently came up with. And the really great news to share is that remember how, and I guess this is a quick important recap, is that remember how like in the last couple of episodes how there were basically two proposals. One was basically they were basically almost identical proposals. They were both right around like $900 billion. The only difference was one had unemployment, one had stimulus checks. And I did kind of ask you guys if you guys had to choose between which one would be better. I do also know that there are a lot of people that had kind of lost hope, and it's reasonable, it's understandable, because this has been a very difficult time, so we can really only do so much about it. But I also did put in my own personal thought that personally, if I had to just comment about it, not from like a news article, just from what I feel, I personally felt that we should really be doing both. And the fact that almost every past proposal before the elections had it, you know, where they were able to do both the stimulus checks and the unemployment, then it means that it's very possible to be able to include both. It's just really more about if they want to. But I also did mention about how even if they don't actually go through with a particular package, every single package, as long as there is some intention to try to do something good, so it's not just like, you know, Mitch McConnell's small package that, you know, he kind of put out there just for the sake of putting it out there. I think that as long as there's some kind of good intention, a reasonably good intention, great intention within that stimulus package, every single package is going to help, because it actually does kind of show intention about what every single party wants. So it's kind of like actually with really anything in life is that like, I'm sure we've probably had that moment where we kind of sometimes have a case where we run into someone and they're kind of just not happy or they're not satisfied about certain something, but they never actually say anything. So you don't really know why they're not happy. They're just not happy, maybe for the sake of not happening, or just we just don't know because they're silent. But you see, every proposal is basically like a voice. It kind of communicates and puts things on the table to kind of share, we want this, maybe we can't do this, but maybe we can agree on a certain other, some kind of package to kind of work out our differences. And the really great news, and I guess there's a huge thank you to every single person who's been supporting this, whether or not you also sided with this, or even if, again, because I think the big thing is that, you know, I think what's great is that we're always able to kind of open up to all sorts of different opinions. But the really great news to share is that they've officially announced that they have updated their new stimulus package, and they will now be including the stimulus checks inside. So in other words, in this brand new stimulus package that we will likely be receiving even more details, possibly even in the next couple of hours, they have officially agreed to do both the stimulus checks, the stimulus package, and the unemployment all put together. The only thing is that in order to do this, they did have to take out state and local government aid. And they did also have to take out liability protection. But I think that for most people, certainly the most number of people, this hopefully comes as very great news with all of the feedback that we've been getting, with the new updated that, you know, we're hoping to anticipate inside of the stimulus checks. The fact that now the stimulus checks are back and the unemployment and everything together, I think there's a lot of positive upside. But we are probably going to be getting a lot of news about this over the next couple of days. So definitely subscribe if you guys haven't done so already to kind of catch up to date on it. But that's really what I wanted to share in today's update. There have actually interestingly been also talks in terms of the amount. We don't actually have details about the amount with the stimulus checks yet. There have actually been a couple Democrats that have even been trying to preach for the $2,000 stimulus checks. Right now, it's probably going to be between $600 to $1,200. We don't know for sure yet, but we likely will get details. So another reason to kind of subscribe. If you guys are brand new here, welcome. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to smash the like button, consider subscribing, hitting the bell notification button. And feel free to comment any questions, thoughts, or really just any personal thoughts, or honestly just really anything at all. So thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay well, and hope to see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much again.